In this video, I make 3 more of what I call prototypes, 2 out of leather and 1 out of cork. What I'm trying to do here is experiment with leather and determine through that experimentation what it is I'm yearning to do, what I can do with the equipment and machines I already have, and what kind of a machine in terms of capabilities I need. Here's this box again of the leather. Not everybody appreciated the unboxing, by the way. Got caught a little bit off guard, but this is all cowhide and probably some lamb skin. I'll put links for items a few might be looking for below the video. As an Amazon associate, I earn for qualifying purchases. So this one was too stiff and I wasn't going to be able to turn it, and I gave up on that with my little dress zipper like I put in the cork little ones. These little zippers are fine with this cork, and you can turn it just fine, but not so with a leather this stiff. And so this is the one I ended up using. Much more, you can just see the difference in the flexibility and the thickness. And then this is sort of in between. It's as thick as this one. It's about as thick as the stiff one, but it's more flexible like the green one. So I'm going to try to use this red. I don't know that artistic people have that thick skin. You know, I originally trained to be a PR and advertising person, which I could do if I went out for drinks with my coworkers every day. And I ultimately thought it was not a very good thing for my liver. I did work for a time in my field, but I've mostly tried not to. Years ago I read that if you put tape on the bottom of your foot, you could sew leather. So I'm going to try that with my zipper foot. So first thing I'm going to do is see if this will sew, because when I tried to just use my zipper foot on leather a while ago, it was a no-go. So I've got the same setup, but I am going to move my stitch all the way to a 5. And then I've got a scrap. And first thing we want to know is, can we sew this? You know, it had a little bit of a hard time getting started, but once it did, it's going along pretty good. I'm really wanting to work up to where I can turn the leather, but it's a little too much right now. And one thing about having a raw edge of leather on something, I don't know how many times I've looked at a very nice looking purse or something like that in a nice store, you know, and looked all over to try to determine if I thought it was genuine leather. Sometimes they'll say genuine leather, and usually if you can't find those words, it's not gonna be. But also sometimes the body of something will be genuine leather, and then a lot of the trim will be other stuff. And so I don't think it's really always a negative to have there be evidence of something being real leather. That's just my sense as a marketer and as someone who's had people in their booth. You know, you think the internet's not obnoxious, you should hear some of the things people will say to you at a craft show. The number 10 and the number 5 are really similar. It's a little different what's on the bottom. My other machine only has a 5. I make napkins using both of these. Okay. To kind of try to pull this, and you know, I've said this before, but it doesn't matter what's happening over here. It really only matters what's happening right where the needle meets the project. I feel like gritting my teeth. That's what I don't like. I don't like projects where you're gritting your teeth the whole time. In my life, I don't like anything that makes me grit my teeth. It looks nice. It's a total grit your teeth kind of a sewing, but it's handsome, I think. Okay, so we're gonna grit our teeth and do one more. And I might literally start keeping a list of what I want the machine that I'm gonna buy sometime, hopefully once I can get back out selling. I'm gonna put on the list that I would like to be able to top stitch a zipper. Often with this stuff, it's like the first few times you grit your teeth, and then once you figure out how to do your machine so it works, you can just whip them out. But we'll see, because I just think leather's a lot for these machines. And this is fairly thick, but it is very flexible, which is why I think it's possible it's lamb. It's possible it's the technique used to cure and or diet. But I do think this is kind of cute, even with this big black zipper. One side is better than the other. This one kind of is a little uneven, and you can see my stitches get ever so smaller right here in this area. Probably same thing here, but this one is a better arc. It's a nice, more of a nice round all the way. So one side I think is a little handsomer than the other. It's kind of cute though. I don't know, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna start at the bottom, I think. This is pretty thick. I'm gonna try to put it in there pretty well matched up. I'm gonna make my seam. I'm gonna use the edge of my foot, eyeball it, and try to make it about just to the edge of the foot. And I may actually prop my foot at the end here, because I want a back stitch in case I don't try to square these corners. If it's just like there's no way, then I might just stop it without squaring the corners. Okay, now I gotta go backwards, which I could use one more hand. All right, I don't know if I can get through all this. Just go slow. All right, I'm gonna prop my foot. Let's see if I can get up here. See if I can walk through all this. Sometimes you gotta go slow and walk. I'm gonna prop the front of this a little too. Now I'm gonna push the actual backwards. Okay, now I'm gonna go back and forward a bit here so that hopefully okay, still going backwards. And then you just want to try not to sew into your chopstick. I've done it plenty. It's not the end of the world, but you can see I just about to sew into my chopstick or clothespin. I do that. I've done it since I was a teenager. I don't know what I did when I was a kid, but okay. Well, I think I've got it good enough. But ideally, of course, I'd want to just be able to sew all that. I've got a bunch of new stuff coming for experimenting with leather. From Tandy Leather Company, I've ordered some edging tools and also some different dyes and edge treatments and things like that so that I can play with how to finish raw edges. I did better on the first side. And there's no zipper head on here. How did I do that? Okay, so I managed to cut my zipper head off, and I read in a parenting book once that when your baby is learning new things, it will regress in other areas and go backwards. And I think it's true of humans. So when you're struggling to sew leather, you make the rookie mistake of cutting off your zipper head. And then you have to fuss and fuss and fuss and get it on there crooked. This has some questionable stuff going on. I'm tempted to make one of these out of cork because it would be so quick and easy and so cute. I've also ordered a boot stitcher, which my husband and I are excited to figure out what we can do with that because it's made for repairing shoes. There's a lot of flexibility, and the other things I've known for a long time that I wanted to be able to do was put straps on bags and sew right onto that part of the bag that is very thick because it's a seam joining the front and the back, and there's often some kind of preparation made for a closure at the top that's hopefully a zipper, which always feels more secure in a handbag than a couple of snaps or something like that. I've tried all kinds of things, bags that kind of have a drawstring with a leather lace at the top, but it's really that zipper that women like in a handbag. That's what I like in a handbag. And so I know there's so much thickness going on where you're joining front to back that it's always a struggle. And I used to do it with the rivets, but I'm hoping now that I can do it with this boot stitcher, which is inexpensive. If I get another industrial machine at some point, I expect it to cost, 10 times what this boot stitcher is. I've also I wish I'd done it before I ordered the stuff from Tandy, but I ordered a little leatherworking kit that's really for hand stitching, but it has numerous little tools and things. There's a little duplication with my other order, but with the difference in quality that you sometimes see in tools, I think it's all good research and development, because in my own mind, I'm starting to figure out what it is I want to make, which sadly isn't cork stuff, because as lovely as cork is and as beautiful as it is to work with, it doesn't, other than commercial potential, it doesn't excite me that much. I've worked with it a fair amount at this point. It is a really nice material. I could even keep all these safety pins in there if I wanted. I don't like this. I would like this better if I had just cut the cork and sewed it in a circle. I don't really like this turned. With each one of these that I've constructed so far, I've envisioned it being a little bag that I could hang from a carabiner and a little length of paracord from my tripod to keep my extra batteries and my battery charging cord, because right now I'm filming all over the place, not just in the sewing room, and running all the way across the property to get your spare battery just seems sort of silly. In fact, my husband was so frustrated recently when all my batteries were dead. and I was waiting for them to charge on my computer, which takes half an age. He ordered me a couple of spare batteries and a really quick charger, and those are the items that I want to keep in this and hang from my tripod, so I always have them handy. So each one of these bags has a little loop on the side, which isn't really finished in any way. I think in 2 cases I had to add them at the end. I had to open the seam and tuck them in because I forgot to put them in while I was working. This one here is the closest to what I'm envisioning wanting to work with. This snake looking leather is so thick I absolutely didn't feel like I could box it on this machine, and so I need to add to the list box corners of very heavy and stiff leather. And but this is kind of cute. I like the way the rounded corner looks. I'm probably going to go back and round the second corner, but it does look pretty cute on my tripod, and it's the closest to what I want to do. I noticed with this one that there was one edge that was already kind of finished looking along the snake leather, and it was a little beveled down on the edge, and so that's the part that I attached to this dark brown garment leather that I used on the first prototype. And so what I'm working towards, I think, is having very thick leather at the bottom and then just putting the fabric that's quilted at the top. And I may even go back and work on the 7 purse tops that I started in a video a long time ago, and then I set them aside, and I don't know that anybody's interested in them but me, but if I make those tops up, I'll be able to use those and make purses that have leather bottoms and quilted raw edge applique tops and little stenciling. I think it could be really pretty and artistic and a nice creative outlet, as well as something with some commercial potential and sustainability in the production. Thanks.